Hello YouTube, Runescape here, and we have another money making guide in Runescape 3 to help you make upwards of 16 mil an hour. If you're looking for Runescape 3 tutorials, money making guides and tips and tricks, then I'd heavily recommend checking out my other content and subscribing to the channel for daily videos. Now let's get into the guide. Today I'm going to be showing you how to get 600 kills an hour at Ganodermic beasts. For any newer players, Ganodermic beasts are a slayer creature requiring 95 slayer to kill and are located in a polypore dungeon next to the mage training arena. They can only be attacked using magic and are weak to fire spells. On screen there will be an example preset of what I use for this method. I am using a Noxious Staff with Chromium 4 for greater chain and Precise 6 for boosted damage. The important perks on my Vertis are Crackling 4 for increased DPS and Scavenging 4 for the components, which if you were wondering will proc roughly 31 times an hour, resulting in on average 124 components an hour. In order to sustain your HP here, I am using a Demon Horn Necklace and Bone Crusher to upkeep my prayer points, enabling me to use Soul Split and Affliction Curses. Also, you will need a Vampora. These do a lot of damage. They're immune to poison, therefore it's not worth using Cinderbanes or Weapon Poison here, so I wouldn't bother with that. The Seeder side helps a ton here as they drop a lot of Magic, Watermelon, Palm, Spirit and Morchella Mushroom seeds. The upgraded Seeder side enables me to automatically pick up the valuable seeds and convert the others to XP. You'll want to bring magic notepaper for the polypore sticks, Gano gloves and boots. Also, Holy Aggro Overloads and an Odak Coil are used to maximise your kills an hour to force aggression from all of the Ganodermic creatures in the room. Finally, the most important item is Neem Oil. You can make this by using a drop from the Ganodermic creatures themselves called Neem Drupes, which you can use on a jar to create Neem Oil. This is to enable you to survive as you will take a lot of damage killing these. Now let's take a look at the action bar and relics that I use. I'll be using Revolution Plus Plus here to make this method semi-AFK and can be seen on the screen now. This bar can be used to provide good overall AoE damage, which is important here. The only archaeology relic I'd recommend using here is the Luck of the Dwarves so that you can use a Ring of Vigor. No worries if you do not have this, just simply wear the Luck of the Dwarves instead because these have a high rare drop table chance. Don't worry too much if you don't have greater chain, just replace that with regular chain on your bar. The fastest method of getting here is by using the Mask of the Ganodermic, which can be obtained from the Shattered Worlds minigame. You may already have this from Treasure Hunter from back in the day. However, if you have run out of charges on this, and you don't have this, you can simply use the fairy ring code BIP to take you to the entrance, then simply traverse the cave, taking the vines down to the lowest level. When you're at the lowest level, you want to find a group of Ganodermic creatures, similar to the one that I'm using in this video, and just simply set up your cannon in the middle. Before I move on, you're probably thinking, how are these 16 mil an hour? I remember killing these and there was nowhere near this. Well, the thing is, with the amount of power creep in the game, you're able to do a lot more damage compared to back in the day. And the method that we're going to be using will grant higher kills an hour because you're targeting like 5 at a time. And most importantly, a lot of their values have skyrocketed in price. I'll put the most notable drops up on screen, but in brief, you'll be making most of your profits from the mushrooms, which since player-owned farms hold a high value because players need them to feed their Zygomites. In addition to this, Ganodermic flakes, boots and gloves also hold a high value because they give you components from disassembling them that are useful to other players. The other major change in these is that they drop an alarmingly high number of inert adrenaline crystals, roughly 42 an hour. So if you're an Iron Man, I'd recommend doing these if you want to get a kickstart into your adrenaline renewals, but this also adds another 2 mil onto your hourly profit. Now let's get into the method itself. Simply set up your Odak Coil, drink an aggression potion, and let Revolution do 90% of the work. Here is where the Neem Oil comes into use. I'd recommend key binding this to something easily clickable. I personally use the 1 key. Then the trick is, once your hit points drop below say 40%, instead of eating food, spam this keybind and your character will automatically apply this debuff to the Ganodermic beasts around you, which effectively removes their ability to do damage, enabling you to quickly heal back up to full. Then every few minutes, simply use your loot area keybind, which in my case is L. If you don't know how to do this, you can go to your controls, scroll all the way down, and area loot will be there and you can bind this. When this is open, all I do is press space and then escape, and this will loot any of the items around me and simply close the loot area so that you can continue attacking. Due to the size of the creatures and their weird stored attack, you have to loot in multiple areas to avoid missing any items. You can put your loot beam value to 50k, and then any valuable drops will simply be shown to you so you don't miss any. So we've just finished up an hour of these. Now let's take a look at the loot. We were able to receive around 16.4 million, 70,000 farming experience, and 750,000 magic XP, making this not only a great money making method, but a nice farming method and combat training method as well. For any Ironmen out there, we received just shy of 1,000 mushrooms, making this a great alternative to Morchella mushroom farming. And over 10 million of our profit came from Ganodermic flakes, boots and gloves, which is insane considering these were around 5,000 each a few years ago. Surprisingly, after selling this in a grand exchange, it actually sold for around about mid, making us 16.4 mil in this hour. Now, if you're anything like me, you're probably thinking, wait, but this is just 1 hour. What if you got lucky? What if you got unlucky? It's not very representative. That's why I've created a tool for you guys in the description that you can manually input your kills an hour, and it will show you what to expect in terms of experience, profits, and the quantity of each item for all of you number junkies out there. In addition to this, if you're interested in this kind of video, I would heavily recommend hitting the subscribe button, as I will also be including a loot from 5,000 Ganodermic beasts in the future, featuring all the data you could possibly need if you're looking to farm this creature. If you got to the end of the video, thanks a lot. If you found it useful, please remember to like and subscribe, and feel free to comment any advice or questions you have below.